Welcome back to another SBT match, guys. We're here for another Challengers match. This is actually the final quarter-finals match in Challengers, and we have Simpleton versus Bagel John. So it's going to be a really good match. Obviously, Simple made second seed, and John clutched out playoffs in the final weeks. So you know, it's an interesting matchup because John's team looks amazing. I don't know if I've already told him, but I'm a big fan of his team. He has such great Mammz. And then Simple's team is obviously very scary as well. Looking at all the threats, Mega Mawile, Mew, Nidoking, Rillaboom. So both teams, I think, have fair matchups to actually take the win here. But we'll have to see. Simple has been performing amazingly this season. And John clutched out a few last-minute wins in the end of the season, so we know that both coaches are just really good. So when it comes to the teams that I think they'll bring for this matchup, just looking at the right calls here, obviously things like Rillaboom to take care of Aerodactyl if it's weakened enough. Grassy Glad can really punish that thing, as well as Landorus Incarnate. Slowbro, you know, Rillaboom is obviously very strong against John's team if he doesn't bring things like Buzzwole and you know, Hydreigon or even Whimsicott to a certain extent. I think Dragalge is actually probably better switching to Rillaboom. But again, Rillaboom could be something like Swords Dance Acrobatics, you know, with Grassy Seed to make sure that Buzzwole can't fall it. That would make a lot of sense there. I think Buzzwole in return could probably be something like the Reducing Berry. I'm trying to think of it right now. I can't remember what it's called. But you know, that could be plays that they're probably worried about. Also, Landorus is a gigantic threat against this team. You know, if not for something like a very specially defensive Goodra, or the thing is that Landorus could also be physical, so it could be tough if he's just thinking about walling Landorus on the special side. And yeah, I don't think he has to worry too much about being revenged by Landorus when he has Rillaboom, but it could get scary, so he needs proper responses. So Pikachu, I think, is a nice response for something like a setup variant of you know, of any kind. I think he can actually take on I don't know if he can take on Hydreigon, but I think you know, Simple probably has better responses. For one thing, he has the Primarina, which Hydreigon struggles really hard to beat, unless he's like SD Thunderfang or something. And then Rotom can also potentially wall him, but I think Hydreigon just sets up for that. So again, both teams have really strong Megas in Mawile and Aerodactyl. Obviously, Mawile doesn't really have the best switch in here, besides things like Metagross, potentially Slowbro, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it, really. You know, Mawile doesn't really get walled here. I'm curious how much it does to the Buzzwole, but I think it's probably a KO. And then, you know, obviously Bagel John has the Aerodactyl on his end, which looks like a big threat late game against Simple. If it has enough investment, it might even be able to take on the Rillaboom. But to be honest, with Simple having priority in Sneasel and Rillaboom, it's kind of tough to keep it in for long periods of time. It might just be better as a breaker early game if he does bring it, or maybe even a blocker. Who knows? When it comes to the 6 I think they might each bring, you know, the top 6 for each of them look very promising, including Rillaboom and Sneasel. Steelix even looks like a potential bring here with Simple against that Aerodactyl. John might have to bring that Dragalge. It does do something on this team for this match. Even T-Spikes might even be included, but if Nidoking is coming, it could be a little bit harder to sustain them. Let's just jump right into the match. I think they really could bring whatever they want here. It just looks like an even matchup, but let's see what they got. Okay, so on Simple's end, he ends up bringing that Mew, the Mawile, Rotom Heat. He brings the Primarina, the Gudra, and the Sneasel. I'm really surprised to not see the Rillaboom come, but I guess he had better plans. And then John has Metagross with the Slowbro, Buzzwole, Aerodactyl, Landorus, and the Hydreigon. So really just the top 6, I believe. Yeah, no Dragalge, which is also interesting not to see. Again, you know, Simple didn't bring the Rillaboom anyway, so it's almost like an even exchange there. So I think John might be planning on winning here with the Hydreigon late game. It's just that Sneasel and Primarina really need to be weakened, and then even Metagross I think actually can do some work here if it has any kind of boosts, you know, with the weakness policy, and Arrow can definitely put in some work. Again, Sneasel really needs to be weakened. Sneasel's a big issue for John's team, honestly. He's kind of weak to the ice stab, especially with ice priority. And Buzzwole kind of just has to be there to wall it. So let's see what they end up leading with. I'm going to keep it at slow and see if I can commentate over the match. We're going to be seeing John here lead with the Metagross, maybe to get up some rocks, who knows. And Simple actually leads off the Rotom, so a very nice lead on his end. Obviously John could have led with Landorus, but I think he was prepared for that. So he goes for the substitute. We do see leftovers, so obviously Hydreigon comes in here to make sure he doesn't hit him with any kind of staff. Maybe he was expecting a Volt Switch. We do see the Dark Pulse breaking that sub. I'm not sure if this is choice or anything, but I think Simple really just wanted to get some damage off. Maybe scout this Hydreigon a little bit. We don't see any kind of leftovers. In comes Incarnate, maybe expecting like a Volt Switch or something. So Landorus comes in, obviously gets forced out by the Primarina doubling in, and I don't think Primarina wanted to stay in there either, and it looks like Simple's response for having Landorus in was the Gudra. So there's an interesting play, and John keeping the Slowbro in as long as the Primarina or the Gudra was in. I don't think he was minding any kind of damage on this. He does get a burn on that Mew, which is very nice for him, but it obviously gets synchronized back. And I don't know what kind of Slowbro this is. It could be Colbert. And then Mew, I don't think we saw the leftovers there, but we did see some rocks. So Mew's just looking to just kind of be more utility here. Wingbait actually doing a lot of damage there, and we do see a Scald coming off of Simple. Does not nab the burn, and he's going to drop to the burn right there. So maybe not the best use of Mew in this match, but at least got up some rocks and got some damage on this Aerodactyl. So Mawile coming in now. It looks like it kind of just wants to revenge this Aerodactyl, but we do see a Sucker Punch. And the taunt, a very nice play on John's part, maybe expecting him to set up. But Sucker Punch was an interesting play for sure. I think Play Rough or Knockoff or something was pretty much free that play, but even play, I think, you know, Mawile just didn't want to take any damage there. But John actually making a very nice read there, going for Toxic, expecting the Rotom to come in, and we see the Rocks as well there. I think Rocks was probably the first play he should have gone for, but if he was expecting a switch, that's why I would think he would do it. He brings in the Slowbro here, and Rotom comes back in. I guess Simple kind of just expecting double. Very nice play, kind of wanting to get some damage on the Slowbro, but I think with the Toxic and the Scald, it's going to drop there, and Slowbro can still regen, unfortunately for him. You might have to go into something like Primarina to make sure he gets off a huge hit, but John is looking very nice in this matchup. He's still pretty much at full health. Slowbro just going for a side shock, trying to scout this Primarina. Primarina having enough bulk to make sure that the sub stays, so he could be going for a Calm Mind here. Unfortunately, even with a Calm Mind, he does have the Drain Kiss actually, so a very nice set that Simple's running here, making sure that he keeps healthy, because if he gets low enough, obviously he's going to be revenged very easily by something like, well actually, it's kind of tough for John to revenge this now that I think about it. He probably has to go into Hydreigon or Landorus, get off a huge Sludge Wave. Maybe Sludge Wave KOs at this range. We'll have to see it right here. This might be a Sulfas Gudra. We actually see a sub, so John looking to make sure he avoids things like the Sneasel's Ice Shard, and he goes for the Calm Mind there. A very nice play, because he can probably take on this Gudra now. it only does about half, and Guja's gonna revenge. So very nice that Simple was able to keep any kind of damage from Landorus off, because Landorus is a huge threat if he sets up that much. But now that now that Landorus is gone, Guja's felt like he's done what he needed to. He gets revenged by the Hydreigon, and in comes the Metagross to take on anything else. Simple wants to bring in Primarina, still at 79%, so it's still pretty healthy. We do see the Meteor Mash doing quite a bit of damage. I don't think it's quite a 2-hit KO, but we do see a Cobra Berry to make sure that Metagross can take on this this Mawile. He goes for the Stomping Tantrum. Very nice play on John's part, getting rid of Mawile. Super mid-late game here, but if he has the Bullet Punch, he actually just stays in, maybe expecting... No, he did not have the Bullet Punch. He actually just revealed his whole set. John could have actually saved Metagross and went to Buzzwole in the first place, but I'm assuming he didn't think it was actually necessary at this point, since Sneasel could revenge him anyways, and it gives Primarina opportunities to maybe set up. So John actually having the Toxic Roost set on this Buzzwole, it's decent for what it is. Obviously, it's only doing 58%, so he can probably Roost stall here, but I don't know how good of an exchange it is when Sneasel's looking in the back to win. So Sneasel definitely Simpleton's endgame at this point. Hydreigon's at 51, probably going to be like 30, 39 when he comes back in on rocks. So he's looking to just make sure Primarina stays as healthy as possible right now until he can take on the rest of John's team. This Primarina honestly needs to be able to beat the Buzzwole and the Slowbro, because if it doesn't, the Sneasel's not going to be able to win late game. So John preserving a bit of health on Slowbro. We do see Primarina just taking the Hydreigon down, so it's going to be close here. I think John's looking to recover the Slowbro a lot more. I don't know if he can just continuously go into Buzzwole at this point. He does live. Does he have Slack Off on this? Yeah, if he was Slack Off, I think he might have actually been Assault Vest, but I'm not too sure there. So down goes both Primarina and Slowbro. Now it comes... Sorry, oh, he doesn't go down there actually yet. So at least Buzzwole is going to be able to survive here. I don't know if it's... Well, it has the +1 now, so I think John actually has this match. I don't know how much damage this is going to do to the Buzzwole, but we do see the Aerial Ace there, so very nice bring on Simple's end there. Having Aerial Ace to clutch out that last minute win, that was such a close match from both these coaches. John was so close in winning that. I don't know if that was a roll. That was a +1 Buzzwole, so this must have been banded or something, but I don't know if it took did it take damage from rocks? It did take damage from rocks, so ooh, that was such a good match, guys. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Obviously Simple's going to take that win and move on to semifinals of the playoffs, where I think he actually takes on Ollie in the semis. So very good match, guys, and stay tuned for the next couple matches. Peace.